So we are live. It's Saturday night. No, it's actually Thursday night. Just you could be watching it on Saturday night, but it is Thursday night. Do you have Saturday Night Live in Australia, Tanya? It's not. It does it show in Costa Rica, Abdul?
I don't have a television, but I sometimes see some YouTube clips or something like that. But no, I don't have a television on site, so I don't follow it like that. Follow anything like that anyway.
Well, I have to say I haven't seen it since I was a teenager, but I still remember. It's like Mr. Bill, Mr.
Cheeseburger, 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 Coke, Coke, Coke.
I should clarify too, similarly, I don't watch TV enough for it because usually it's on, it has been when I've seen it many years ago late at night. So I can't tell you if it is still on, but it has been. So, yeah.
So today on Thursday Night Live, we're going to be talking about money, business, and spirit and our own experiences with it. And I'm just going to welcome up Greg also to join the conversation. And Shakina, are you ready yet? Not quite. Okay, we're going to wait on Shakina. So who wants to jump in here and say, actually, do money, business, and spirit go like this hand in hand? Or is money and business over here and spirit over here? How does it occur for you, beloved?
I don't know how to separate it because my life is seamless. You know, I don't know how to separate what I do from what I am. I don't know how to separate any of that. And I have never, ever been motivated by dollars. It's never been a thing for me that there's a number or I need this or I need that. But it's always been about being in the flow and just having and being. So if there's something that for me it's adventure, right? My big thing is experiencing and traveling and playing with spirit. So as long as that's my focus, I've always been taken care of. So I don't know how to separate them. My business is my playtime, you know? And it's really interesting because my business changed so much when we went into our cocoons. Because for me, most everything was live. You know, I traveled and it was so exciting. I'd go into a city on a Friday night and do an intro. I'd do a play shop all day. Saturday, I would do a concert. Saturday night, Sunday, we'd have more playtime and a beautiful ceremony. And I'd stay in town for 2 days and work individually, see a couple of people individually, and then I was gone. And it was great. It was so exciting. And I would do it, I don't know, once every couple of months doing that. And then, of course, I'm a big ceremony girl. So I would do my ceremonies live every month. And then we were in our cocoons. It was like, oh my goddess, what is this? Where's my live? Where's my connection? Where's my floating about? So I learned to do things virtually and started doing all these things, right? A membership and clients and this, that, and the other thing. And then this December, I walked away from everything. It was just overwhelming. It was like, wait a second, why am I doing that? Why am I scheduled like this? And it was the first time in my life that I felt not so seamless.
Mm.
I felt like, oh, I'm supposed to be creating this over here. And it was like something that wasn't part of me. So for me, I walked away. It was the overwhelm.
It sort of sounds to me like you operated mostly like a butterfly, where if I had to do the analogy here, like the rest of
Yeah.
the world was a caterpillar and you were a butterfly. And when they went into the cocoon to become a butterfly, you started to experience things like a caterpillar. And right? The
Yeah.
constraints about what you're supposed to do in order to do things, and felt that
Yeah.
little bit of like overwhelm, which is, I think, for me, one of the conversations is you can have the experience of overwhelm, right? We can have the experience of frustrated, we can feel grief and shame and all those emotions.
Yeah.
Is that like, is that what business is supposed to be? Or is it supposed to be like you
No.
described before? It's seamless and it just is, and we have a mission or a purpose, or we just are.
I definitely think it's supposed to be seamless in the way it was, because last month I came back and I said to Spirit, okay, I'm back, but I can't schedule myself like this. And so for the last 6 weeks, it's been a joy again, an absolute, absolute joy. And the seamlessness is there, and I get to be the butterfly again. I mean, I have a stellium in Gemini, right? And gems are the butterfly of the zodiac. So that, I mean, that's the perfect thing. So I feel like I was reborn. And when we were in our cocoons for those couple of years, then I believe that each of us had an opportunity to see, okay, what kind of butterflies do we want to be when we come out?
Mm-hmm.
And what do we want to do, and what still works and what doesn't, and what are we going to take forward, and how are we still going to live our purpose? So yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'm going to go over to the first masculine perspective over there with Mr. Abdul. And what are your thoughts of what of your experience? What wisdom do you have to share with us?
Beloved, speaking about seamlessness, because I moved into a space of trusting very early on in my process. And so whatever comes, I flow into that because of what my purpose is, um, as a healer, as a guide. And so, and even as a missionary, and I mention that because travel is involved in what I experience when I go from one geographic location to another is similar. It's, it doesn't, I'm like received as the same guy, and so it's like, there's a reception, or if there is an angel needed, they're there, they identify themselves, we connect, and whatever has to happen for my presence does occur. Um, I didn't have the full benefit of being in a cocoon, if that is similar to being out of service during the pandemic. It just kind of amped up, and in a different way, because of the need of the time, and um, the things that I had, the seeds that I had planted prior, kind of bloomed and blossomed during that time. And so as
Nice.
people became more cautious about, well, they were being guided to stay away from other humans. So, I remember, um, the the cancellate the last cancellation, or the reasoning, they didn't want to come or something like that. And so, I'm never argumentative or try to pressure anyone into the experience at all. And so I just allowed it to be what it was. And I just kind of decided to focus more on my my own self maintenance, on a physical level. So I just watched the movie, so to speak, as far as um, business. Business, I because I was a businessman prior to my health crisis and crossed over uh, into who I am, what I am representing now. I know there's a distinct difference between the two. The vibration, the energy in the business world is different. The motive, the motivation is different. And you have to be willing to pursue and be aggressive in a way that a spiritual lifestyle does not demand. And so I don't function in business. I was very strong in that field before. I've helped and guided people that have come across my path in pursuit of that, um, in the last 30 years or so, to lend up that knowledge that I had so strongly. However, I learned to trust in the building of the energy, that allows you to become magnetic, and once you build up your energetic presence and you allow, let's say, the holiest part of yourself, your Holy Spirit, to be your, well, I say, be my secretary in that regard, and decide when I will be in play as a healer and when I will um, rest and focus more on healing myself. It's been basically like that. I you know I the way I was kind of guided to function has always been to see what my energy calls for, out of the respect for what I do and who I am and who I am becoming. And so, um, offering my service on a donation basis has always been my my function. And then, watching the movie also. So when I find that there's a lot of money in the box, that receives the donation, I kind of have an idea that there's a need for something. There's something I have to do with that, with those funds, and it comes up like that. And then I have the other experience of every time I put something out, it always comes back and the hole is filled again. So you create a void, and then that money comes right back. And so, um, you don't really experience lack. However, it does require, just trusting in your process, and because I don't personally, as a human being, require much on a physical level. Well, what I do is eat one meal a day. When I'm working, I allow spirit to be my nourishment and my sustenance, and then do as much as I can to try to get back and take care of my physical. Because once I'm in that space, it's like, yeah, we still don't need anything. You want something? How much of that do you want? And it's like hard to really deal in that space because I can just OD on uh, whatever I start to indulge, especially if it's a bag of something. I'll just sit there after the session and just OD on that because it really has no meaning. so, um, so pretty much that's my experience in that, and um, it's what I notice, business, because when you create a business, you have to have a plan and an objective, a target market in order for that business to succeed. And so it can, leave you disappointed, um, and, wanting and trying to force someone into the thing. I, I truly learned how to trust in the process where I don't, after I treat someone, I don't invite them back. I, they try to invite themselves back. When can I come again? Like, so, um, I just leave that to the secretary, and then, function like that. And, it's a wonderful dynamic in a sense because, and when you function, so you imagine yourself as being a lighthouse, right? The lighthouse, right? So you got to send light out. And so you got to do what's necessary to maintain that light's projection and trust in that process. And so, when you look at it like that, then you'll appreciate the times and value the times that you have alone to yourself. Even on a cancellation, it's saying that you're not ready, and so, um, so my greatest answer would be, I just kind of trust in the process and um, um, avoid the idea of a business, because what a business asks, you got to create a plan and you got to have an exit plan for a business as well. It has to be, a way out. And when you become a servant to your highest self, there is no exit plan to that. There's more, you become more and more involved in serving it. And so there's no, I'm retiring. The idea.
That's true.
The only time you retire is when you disappear from the planet. It's
You're still not retiring. We're in the other realms.
You're just in the other dimension. You just can't see me the same way. I feel like there are a couple points there that I just like to reiterate is that I remember them now. And if they don't, the secretary says, they heard it the first time. You don't have to emphasize them. And that's it. The secretary. I like the analogy that the secretary is God's source, because when I think I know that's the same way. When I get that prompting from the secretary, I'm going to start to go. It's like goddess. Goddess is the secretary. I don't know. She might be the executive assistant. We have to, up this. Is that I follow. And when you follow, my experience has been it usually is something beyond my imagination, better than I could have expected. Whether that is in giving away funds or giving your time, or as you say, donations. Like you can trust, when you can trust that you can live on donations, it's like you really are in the flow, that the universe has got you covered, giving you everything you need, which is what we've heard. But to practice it is a completely different experience, right? It's the concept of a Buddhist monk or any other monk, I guess, that supposedly go out and beg, for whatever's going to be put in their bowl. They're going to have what they need. You get to that point, And it's not like we're begging in that sense. It's just a sense of you're open to receive and you're open to give. You're in a constant flow and you're trusting the process. And the executive assistant is is managing it for us all. And to trust that is like a whole new way of living. And if we trusted that, we wouldn't have to be greedy. We wouldn't have to be banking for our retirement, because we wouldn't be living into the future so far, because we don't think we're going to be taken care of unless we have that paycheck, because we're actually going to be continue giving in whatever way we're giving until, whether it's giving our smile. It doesn't have to be giving a trade. It doesn't have to be giving healing. It doesn't have to be giving an ear to somebody that needs it. It's just giving. It's just our sharing our beingness. We'll go to Tanya while Greg's dog quiets down.
Did you see me jump? I kind of went, oh. Yeah, I kind of forgot what we were talking about until I looked this morning. I've been checked in, and it's like, oh, money. It's like, do I have anything to say? Do I really want to say anything? And then I came across this little short reel or something that I saw the other day, and it just popped into my mind while I was listening to you all talk, and it was I might get the name wrong. I don't follow this person, so I think his name's Ken Honda. He's on money, on and I like abundance and whatnot, and he was talking about that there is a heap of negative money out there, and I've been thinking on and off about it, and I can see where he's coming from a little bit, in that we have attached such a negative thing to it. If we don't have it, then we're not successful. If we don't have it, then we're not going to be able to do this or this or this. And reflecting on myself and this past few years, and everyone going into their own spaces, and how we've all dealt with being alone, and the change and whatnot that's occurring. For me, it's been interesting to I've been riding a lovely little seesaw in that I really stepped into trusting, because I'd gone from this what I was familiar with, in having this regular job where I got regular money, and I felt secure in this, and to this space where I really looked at myself and realized that how I was approaching things was from a negative perspective, in that I wasn't trusting outside of myself and what was familiar to me, that I would not be supported if I did not have money coming in to me directly. So it's been a very in-depth process, let's call it that, where I notice when I stopped trusting that what I need and what I ask for will come to me. So I'm quick to catch myself, and yeah, it still happens, I'll admit it. Listening again to you all talk, for me, it is still feeling into what resonates with me, what feels heartfelt for me. Listening to you, I feel you all have this business experience, and I have none of that, because I've always relied on working for someone else. So I'm not familiar with how do I do this and what do I do that, blah, 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 blah. So that for me is a little bit of a, it's a big thing for me, how to go about that. And that's another step into trusting that it will be taken care of for me. So I do. I like the secretary thing too. I will take that with me, because I listening to you talk, I realized that even my thought about in this moment about money coming in, there was still a feeling of resistance or a hesitation or a doubt. So when talking about the secretary, it made me laugh, and I felt joyful in my heart. So that's how I want it to feel when I perceive money and business and what's incoming to me. So,
And Greg's ready to go because he had the dog removed from the room.
That's true.
And then we'll go to Shakina.
Excuse me. Well, I've been a carpenter pretty much most of my life. I had a couple of jobs before I decided to be a carpenter, and then my learning process started with listening to the voice of my father going, "Oh, you can't be in business for yourself. You got to work so hard." And like, so I played that tape for quite a few years where I worked my butt off and didn't charge enough money, and didn't screen clientele and the whole 9 yards. And I met every expectation that my father put into me. It was really hard. I didn't earn enough money. And then as I uneducated myself from that, things got a lot easier. Like, and for years, most of the time, I don't even know where my business cards are because I don't care. I don't have letterhead. And for, at least the last 20 years, I've been always booked as far in advance as I wanted to be, because I don't care about it. When I first met my wife, she was going like, "How do you deal with that?" And I said, "Deal with what?" She goes, "You don't know what you're doing next month." I said, "I don't care. It doesn't matter." Like the phone always rings when it needs to ring. And I really always just put it aside. And my wife is a very, she's super organized and very well planned out into the future and all those sort of things. So kind of like my polar opposite and those things. So it still drives her nuts, I'm sure, because I just like, "It's okay. No, it's not. No, it's not." It's like, yeah, it's okay. And I still get moments too where I have relapses and play some old tapes and stuff like that. But most of the time when I catch myself, I kind of just laugh at myself and take a breath and let it go by and just move on. And it's always been, I don't, it is trust, but it's just a way of being. It's not like, say, I'm trusting right now, like I never have those thoughts, right? It's like, saying to your kids, "We're going to have quality time starting right now." It never it never really plans out that way, right? So, so like I just kind of get up and it's like, it doesn't bug me, and I just look at things and, for sure there's things that still catch me, but for the most part, I just look at stuff and it's like, I don't have the right to control how other people talk to me. I can stop them and say, like, "I don't really enjoy what you're saying," and that sort of thing. And I don't know, I've always just, like, I could repeat everything you guys have already said. Like it's very, very similar. And I guess it was a couple of years ago, I was kind of being called to not do the carpentry work so much. And so that's when Jacqueline and I did the first little mini tour, which was just pretty magic. And that was 100% trust. And it wasn't like we were trying to trust. We just got up every day and just drove the car and went to whoever was ready to have us there next. And we just went there and did our thing and went there and did our thing. And most of the time I didn't even know where we were because I'd never been out east before. So like it was just smile and wave and just go with it. Like to me, it's real simple. It's not like I have this process in my mind that I go through. It's just it's just who I am more than anything, and who I am is someone who's not perfect, but I enjoy catching myself because it's it's always a joy to find a spot where you can grow. And that's it. So like when I find a spot, I'm just happy to see it and see if I can learn from it and move on and just try to correct it the next time or not. Depends if I'm ready, if I want to focus on it or not. There's no pressure. There's no pressure I put on myself to do those things. And I got to that point by being a real good expert at being really hard on myself for a lot of years. And I was the expert on putting expectations on me that were, probably voices of my parents or my teachers in high school and all that sort of stuff. And when I shed most of that stuff, then life just got easier. And it's because it's we can choose to make any situation ridiculously hard. And it might be challenging and you might have to work hard, but that's just kind of like life. Sometimes you work harder, sometimes you work a little less hard. And all the drama that can or can't go with it, we get to decide that. So instead of going down the road kicking and screaming, I want to go down the road smiling and happy. And it's just a choice.
It's a choice.
That's a little simple for most people to grasp, that it's just a choice.
Yes.
It is just a choice, right? Like yesterday, someone said overwhelm is a choice. And someone goes, overwhelm is a choice. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. Because it's a choice.
It's a choice.
Right? It's a choice.
Yeah.
And for most, it's like all they want to do is have that bounce off a wall, right? Like it's not. It's like you see it every day when you talk to people. Are so attached to their story. No, you don't know how overwhelmed I am. Let me tell you how overwhelmed I am, right? Like, let me tell you what's going on. And that's okay. You can feel that way. But when you recognize, you can just as easily put the story down.
Yeah.
And just believe that there might be just a little bit shift in the story. You don't have to believe that you're going to be like us. But if you're just willing to open up just a tiny bit and say, is there another possibility that I can feel a little less overwhelmed? Or what would be the difference of overwhelm? I can't trust entirely, but maybe I can just be okay with the drama that's happening right now. Right? Then I know I don't have money in my bank account at the moment, or I know that I have to pay this bill, or no, this is an expense. It's going to be okay. Somehow it's going to be okay. I remember what these guys just said. They trusted the process. It showed up. And the more you can have your own personal experiences, the more you'll it's like your workout, right? Your trust muscle gets stronger. And then, as Greg said, we went on this trip, like hats off to him. He did. He literally, he flew out here and just got in the car, and he didn't really know where he was going or what we were doing. And off he went for a week, and hats off to his wife too, that says, sure, just go. Don't know where you're going. But like every night we were in a different place in front of a different group of people. And it was all arranged by the executive assistant. And for each of us, it was an experience beyond our comprehension, because it wasn't us running the show. And I think that's like when Abdul said about when he was a businessman in New York City, it was entirely different energy than the energy that he's in right now. And I would say the same sort of experience for me. And now it's kind of like, of how do you bring them together? Maybe the word business has to get changed because it still kind of sounds like busyness.
Yeah.
But the idea is that abundance is all there. The flow is all there. And when we're authentically aligned and true with what we feel to contribute to the world, we are taken care of in wonderful,
Absolutely.
wonderful ways.
Absolutely.
So I would have loved to see Shakina's face, but right now she's just vibrant and purple. And I heard purple is the new in color. So let's go and welcome Shakina.
Thank you. I really don't know how to get the camera on. It's on. it's enabled. I thought it was on your end that you didn't turn it on afterwards.
It
But
happened to me
anyway,
the other day, Shakina.
okay,
I wasn't couldn't come on camera either, so it could.
okay. It's a reason for that, evidently.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you, first of all, and thank Abdul for inviting me, telling me about this. And I have no idea why he thought I would have something valuable to to add to this. I honestly, I think I'm here to learn more from all of you. But I can say, based on this subject, it is timely. I think that's why Abdul said, hey, did you know we were doing this? I think you should join in, because this is something that I've been kind of um, working with as of late. The concept of my healing arts and the other things I do um, to bring income in. So recently, like as of the start of 2024, I made a conscious decision to get back into my healing services. And as of like 2 months ago, I decided I'm not going to call it my healing business anymore. It's just my hobby. It's something I really love and enjoy doing. So I'm going to look at it that way. And so in the meantime, the company that I was working for, and most of my last 20 years, I've been working as an independent contractor for different organizations, companies, and for myself, creating businesses here and there or gigs, income, creating income for myself. Um, but there were a couple of regular jobs that I secured, and it made me feel a sense of security. Okay, I know this amount of money is coming in every week. And so I do appreciate that. I really do. Knowing that a certain amount will be in every week. So I'm at the point now wherein I'm without that sense of security, because I understand I have something in my thought processes that uh, makes me challenged, related to just totally trusting the process of going out on my own and creating something, especially from the healing arts. And then I realized, okay, so I'm going to get some training to uh, work in a particular field online that will at least bring me some, meaningful commissions, and then I can apply that income to my monthly contribution to the household, as well as my goals for this year. And so I've accomplished that. I got the training. It took me a month to find a company that I resonated with, and they resonated with me, and I got hired on. So I'm in the very beginning stages of that. And so for me personally, with all of the responsibilities that I have related to family at this particular time of my life, I feel more comfortable with that, with the two working together, because then I can more comfortably do the healing arts without feeling like having those mental blockages. Oh, will it be okay to charge X amount of dollars for this? Especially when I'm working with people in an area that are very low income, and also working with a group of people that engaging, quote, meaningful conversations every week. It's the Baha'i faith. So I've been participating in that every week, once a week. And I noticed I started getting concerned because their faith seems to believe that you know how a lot of religions might put like a negative energy on lots of money, having lots of money. So that's what I've been kind of picking up in some of the conversations with those that kind of facilitate the meeting. Like I did a group sound healing bath, and you know, a couple of them came and they supported me, right? But at the same time, in other of our meetings, they made comments and gestured towards, oh no, we would never charge for that. They do marriages. I do marriages, right? As an officiant. And I offer a sliding scale, but they, you know, the feedback to me, oh no, we never charge for that, you know. So and it started making me feel like shrinking, that energy of shrinking. Oh, am I doing something wrong? You know? And I started saying, should I continue to communicate with these people? You know, even though I love the conversations that we have, especially with all the different people from the surrounding areas that come for particular topics, meeting so many different people and hearing so many different perspectives and growing in that way. So I decided, yes, I'm going to continue that. And I'm going to also hold on to my love and appreciation for money, because with money, I can do so much more that I want to do. And without it, I can't do certain things that I want to do, because that's just the way this world operates. So the reason why I was saying I'm grateful that I was invited into this meeting is because I know I need some more uh, inspiration related to the topic, Jacqueline, because my needs have always been taken care of, right? But I really do need more related to my goals. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm just trying to stay open. I've been working with affirmations, and they are working, because I do need more financial blessings. Now, if I was living by myself, you know, and had no other responsibilities related to other people involved in my life, maybe I could, you know, take that leap of faith and just, you know, be a real minimalist, find ways to reduce expenses, and then take that leap of faith and just do the healing arts, do the music, and trust the process. But right now, I'm just not there.
Perfect. That's perfect, Shakina. So you've just given me this wonderful opportunity to create this wonderful idea for the other four. Okay. So this is kind of how I see how people work. You have an issue, and then you go and talk to your friends, usually. What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
And people give you their perspective.
Yes.
So we're going to do this quick little, like, you know, couple minutes for each one. We're going to go around. You're going to hear the four, what their solution or their idea or what comes to them that they're going to share about Shakina. And then you can choose if any of that resonates with you and give us feedback of what feels true for you. How's that?
That sounds good.
Okay. Take it from the top, beloved. Let's go.
Okay. Well, the first thing I want to say, Shakina, thank you so much for sharing your perspective and where you are right now and what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, the first thing I want to say about money. Money, for me, my understanding, money is just an energy exchange.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all it is. You know, it's so easy to get caught up with money as being an entity of itself, but it really is just an exchange. So, for example, when you're offering your sound work,
Mm-hmm.
for people to really receive well, I believe there needs to be an exchange.
I do
And
too.
money is one way to exchange it.
Mhm.
You know, when I had my clinical practice and I would work with people, especially with people with addictions, I made them pay. And when I worked with young people, I did not let their parents pay for their session. They had to pay me, and I charged a lot. And we did a 6-week program. And at the end, I gave them all their money back. But they had to come with it
Mhm.
or they wouldn't receive. It's like bringing yourself in. And I know that with many spiritual communities, there's a thing about not charging and not charging well. And I believe that stems from the time that spiritual people were provided for by the community. I mean,
Mhm.
when we look at the priests, when we look at the monks, when we look at the sisters, right? They were provided for. And
Mhm.
we live in a time now that there's so many householders that are doing that, you know, that are bringing forth spirit and really, you know, really helping people. That I let go of that whole thing a long time ago because I never charged for my healing. And I was working with a healer who had booked my time. And at the end, she asked me how much she owed me. And I said, well, you don't owe me anything. I don't charge for healing. That, you know, that no. And this was the lesson I learned that day. She said, oh, my darling, I know where the healing comes from. I am not paying you for the healing. I am paying you for your time.
Time. Yes. Mhm.
And what is your hourly rate?
Mhm.
And she wrote me a check for 2 hours. That's the first time I ever accepted funding for a healing, right? A healing session. But it's the same thing. It's an energy exchange and nothing to be apologetic about. You know, you're offering, and again, I believe that if people come empty-handed, and if they come empty-handed, they will leave empty-handed. And it's that same thing. I'm going out later, and I like to go dancing at breweries because that's where the live bands are. And I don't drink or very little. And my mother said to me, well, are you going to buy a beer? And I said, no. And she said, oh, but you must buy something
Exactly. Yeah.
because that's how they provide the band that you like. That's how they provide the music.
Mhm.
It's the same thing.
Mhm.
You know, it's an energy exchange and you're worth it.
Mhm.
You know, everyone is worth it, but you are definitely worth it. And I love the fact that you're going to still visit with people that you enjoy having conversations with, but know that what you're bringing is a great gift.
Right.
And it's okay to accept that because money is only an energy exchange.
Mhm.
Period. Eggs work well too.
Thank you.
Come with something.
Yes.
Okay, who's up next? Who wants to jump on?
Can
Tanya.
I? Because I feel mine is going to be. How do you follow that? um, I feel mine will be short and sweet because you covered a lot of what I was feeling to say as well, beloved. But my, from my perspective and my feeling and experiences, that I won't focus so much on money coming in. As beloved said, it's an energy exchange, and my experiences have been that what I've needed have come in exchange for, or like if I've given something of myself, whether I'm deliberately giving advice or whatnot, what I need comes to me, whether it is in the form of money or as Beloved said, eggs are great. Whatever I need comes to me. It could be food, it could be help in the garden, it could be something. So this, for me, that's my income. It's not limited to just cash in hand.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes.
That's beautifully said too, right?
Mm-hmm.
In exchange, it's happening. Which one of you two lovely men would like to jump on now? Abdul. There you go.
I'm reluctant to give money, dollars, whatever the currency, the power or the respect of being energy. I, like I said,
I couldn't hear what Abdul said. Could you repeat that?
Step closer to your mic, please, Abdul.
hello, hello. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Do you copy? Do you read me?
Yes.
I am reluctant and very slow to give money the respect of being energy or currency. I see it more as, actually, to borrow a word from Beloved, as more of an entity that is weaponized within our societies to disempower us and allow us to not respect the energy that we are. Because if we put a dependency on these pieces of papers and these coins that um, create an exchange in some sense, we would always feel or experience lack in some way.
Mm.
What my experience has been in my evolution and in my trusting of the process is, even if I have it to go participate in an event, the vendor would refuse to receive it from me. Like, no, let it drop on the floor. And that means it should stay with me, not to lessen the volume that I have and leave it for another occasion. So, respectively, I've learned to continue to work on my energetic attractiveness and let the secretaries tell me from experience to experience what I deserve. And so, if you depend on the currency, you will always be disappointed, even if someone says they can't come see you because they don't have it, for example. So, the uh, we benefit as humans in our communications with souls, other souls. This is our salvation in this world because the illumination of our soul, we can go somewhere and we could find ourselves in solitude as we strengthen ourselves spiritually. But the benefit will always come when we step down the mountain and interact and exchange and allow ourselves to experience solution and be solution, as an experience to another. And so if you just really think about money, it will always, and say these monetary items, they're just like dead. They don't have energy, because it's like, in my mind, it's like it's something you could throw it on the wall and it'll fall to the floor. what its value, because it's being played with on a daily basis. And so our focus should be always allowing ourselves to be the vehicle for a change, and we will see the benefit of it more um, in all aspects of our lives. Um, Jacqueline mentioned the giving. The idea is giving. You have to decide to be a giver, right? What are you giving? The energy of your being that inspires the energy of another being to be. And the power from that in itself is so immeasurable, right? And so if we become less dependent, on, okay, what we don't really, how do we really define what do we need, right? Are we feeding an addiction? An addiction needs to be fed, right? That's a need. Um, but when you take care of the vehicle and you allow yourself to focus more on your spiritual reality, then your need for physical things become less, because of that energy in itself. What it's feeding off is greater than anything that we could create in this world. So, um, it's like a leap that we should accept the challenge of stepping into, and not devalue the kindness that we receive from another just because we're there. The smile, this value in these things that we overlook. And so if we go somewhere and someone is just happy because we're there, it's like in the universe, it's like ding, 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 ding. So we have to recognize the value in that and really allow ourselves to focus more on amping up that aspect of ourselves. And then we'll have more fun in whatever we're doing, in um, our chosen vocations. It becomes fun because the way it shows up, the timing of it, um, and the like. And so, um, consider looking at, you know, um, not seeing money as an energy, because it will fail you in that regard. I mean, it will fail you as an energy every time, because it'll make you feel inadequate.
That is a good point, because when you're expecting something or a certain amount and you don't get that amount, right, or it doesn't show up that way, there usually is a thought that floats in there that says something like, I did something wrong, or how did I get in the way, or what was my money block, like, how come that didn't happen? It happens for someone else. So that is it this is why we have different perspectives, because everybody's different in how they manage what's up here. And this is wonderful. So I'm saving the next conversation, the input. And Greg, you might just say, it's nothing I'm going to say. It's just gone. And Beloved said she had to go at the top of the hour, so she's gone dark. So we love you, Beloved. We'll see you later. All right, go for it, Greg.
Well, I just want to say to Shakina, I have just my perspective on it, and whatever yours is perfect, and I'm not going to judge you or think you're whatever. You can charge a lot, you can charge a little, you can give it all away, and every single idea that you choose to explore is perfect. And I just have mine, which is maybe different. So I just wanted to say that first. So because it's when you walk your walk and do your experience from your own choices, that's probably the best learning place than just hearing anybody else speak and just going and jumping off the cliff because you heard somebody else say, you want to make a lot of money? Go jump off that cliff over there. You make a lot of money. Because it's, Jacqueline's heard me say that this before. It's every choice we make kind of builds our spirit in a certain way. Every choice we make, that's how we build our spirit. And when you build your spirit in whatever way you choose, then that's what gears your spirit, your spirit's ability to release the light and share the light with others, not gain light because it's already there, not, get better and all that stuff because it's already all there. It's just when you set your own spirit free and the light is not, you don't have to try to shine, you just do. You don't try to be more peaceful, you just are. You don't try to be generous, you just are. So just know that whatever choice you make, wander down that road and you will learn because you want to. If you were someone that wasn't looking for truth, well, it could be a long way, but you're interested in that, so you'll figure it out 100%. So have at her any way you feel fit, and don't judge yourself harshly for any mistakes you make, because that's how we learn. So I think it's all beautiful that way. And for me, for the spiritual work, like, I never ask for money. People give me money sometimes, and I never count it. I just put it in my pocket because I don't care. I do not care how much it is. I said to someone a long time ago, so if I charge $150 a treatment and somebody else comes in and I only charge them 20, I said, did I do a real crappy job for the $20? Because it's not a sliding scale on how I behave. My behavior is exactly the same every time, and it's not like I've heard people say over the years, oh, you have money issues. It's like, well, I don't think so, because I charge a lot of money as a carpenter and I have no issues charging a lot of money, because in that realm, I feel real free to charge a lot of money. And if you don't want it, that's fine. I just walk away and smile. I don't care. I don't price to compete with anyone. And it's the same with spiritual work. Like, when people actually understand what they're getting out of it, they will pay you. And Jacqueline come up with a line there about 2 months ago that was the first time in my life around spiritual work that it resonated with me, and it rang really true. And help me if I get this wrong, but it was like, you can either pay me now and I can give you a number for now, or you can pay me in 2 weeks when you get the results of what you think, and then you can pay me what you think it's worth, or you can just pay it forward. You get to choose. They have the freedom to choose. And I can say that with zero attachment to what their choices are. Like, they could go away with full intent on paying me in 2 weeks and never pay me. And the real beauty of that is they have to wrestle with their own conscious. Their own consciousness will either cause them to feel something and change how they are, or they will just suppress it and move on and pretend like nothing happened. And that's, if you've done any amount of work, that's not a good choice. That usually doesn't end up allowing your spirit to shine. It actually kind of closes it back in a little bit. And I've said too with people, I said, if you read a book that is inspiring to you, or if you heard something that's inspiring to you, or you watch a YouTube clip that you think, wow, that was brilliant, send them $5. Like, and the amount doesn't really matter, but send something. Pay it forward. And I don't know what else to say about that. Like, even when I have no money in my bank account, I'm still generous. because it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, like there's always ways you can kind of give and be generous, and it's not always related with money. Sometimes it's just a smile. Sometimes it's just the kindness. It's rarely. I just have to say this because I'm just kind of a weird human being. I think it's rarely derogatory statements and all that other stuff that actually makes anybody's world go around. It's that, and it's not smiling that Sunday morning smile that's as fake as you can possibly ever get. It's really, really smiling because you feel it inside, and that smile people get. We've all met people at some point where you walk in the room and you just look around and you just see one person, you go, they're awesome. And it's rarely have I found out that they weren't, because some people their light just shines and they might not even know it. They just shine. I think I'm a bit of a tangent here, but the whole new age thing is like, go out and shine your light to the world. It's like, that's too much pressure. Like, I think that's because you'll just judge yourself then. Am I shining enough? Maybe I need to shine more, and all that sort of stuff. When you just feel it and your spirit is full enough, it shines automatic. There's no effort. There's zero effort in letting that light shine out. It actually probably takes way more energy keeping it contained, because the things that contain it are the self-judgment and all the how we view ourselves, our level of honesty that we have with ourselves is what keeps the spirit from shining. So I've said enough, and I just think I'll just say I think you look lovely. I like purple. You sound wonderful, but you look lovely too. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so I get a chance to say something now, right? All right.
Yes.
All right. So I agree with what everyone said. Firstly, beloved, she mentioned, know that you are worth it. And that has been one of my affirmations, because I did struggle with certain blockages that I had from childhood. And I've been working on that. And I could pinpoint exactly when the incident happened that had me feeling not worthy. Like one incident when I had my first job, and I was so excited I had money, right? And so I'm walking down the block and I see the hustler on the side of the street with his card game. And I am so young and naive. I'm still like a child, even at my age now. I'm in my 60s, but I'm still real curious and just like a child to the world, always wanting to learn stuff. So I stop. I'm looking at him play this game, and I'm like, I know where he put that card. I can do it. I lost my whole paycheck too. And I cried. I went home and I just cried. I felt like crap, And so that was a heavy blockage for me for years. And then being part of a monastic, a new age type monastic community where we were renunciates of the world. And I relinquished all, personal belongings, no money whatsoever of my own for like 27 years. So that created another block, that vow of poverty that I took, so that was another blockage that I had to work through once departed from the group. And then there are a couple more. So over the years, I've been, I've like confronted those issues and did some inner work. I feel clear, a lot clearer now. But I still added that to my affirmation process, because I know I've been working with that issue for so long. And Tanya, she said something that was spot on, because like what I need does come to me. Absolutely. It's always been like that, even when I was a teenager, except for the period of my life where I forgot my connection because I focused on giving all of my devotion to a human being. And then I got the revelation once when I was in my lowest moment during that chapter of my life, wherein I was like, why have you forsaken me? My invisible helpers. And they told me clearly, we have not forsaken you. You have forsaken us. Okay. So just like Tanya said, the things that I need, they come to me. And I give thanks for that. I really do. And then Abdul mentioned that one of his comments that really rang really true, hit the bell for me. Like everything he said was, yes, I agree with that. But to don't look at money as an energy, because you will feel inadequate. If you do get stuck on that thought, that is real. And I don't want to feel that way. And so that is one of the reasons as well why I decided to look at the healing arts as my hobby. And I will allow people to do, just like with the marriages, I allow them to pay me what they can, what they feel is right, or what they can at that moment. And just detach from the idea of, okay, this is going to be my livelihood. No, this is my hobby. I do this because I like to help people and I enjoy doing that. And it actually helps me as well. So on the other side, that's where the the other career comes in, where it's I can actually have some income coming in. If that doesn't work, who knows? I might enjoy doing it, but someone else might just come to visit saying, oh yeah, I like the way she looks, I'm going to give this a try. And then really not tuning into the process of what I am doing, and they just totally miss it. Or it might take some time for it to integrate, and they don't realize that their body actually did receive the memo and is doing what it can, and they'll see a change next week or next month or something. They don't put it together. So I don't want to get attached to that thought. Oh, well, they didn't pay me. I just have to do it for the sake of doing it. Okay. And just so you know, Abdul, it's not about me having so much attachments to material things, because I am already pretty much a minimalist, you know. But when I'm working with a situation that I came out of still, that I'm trying to help because of some decisions that I made as a younger person, I'm still now trying to help uh, some of my youth that are still here. I lost two of them in 2 months' time. The other three, there's no way I'm going to drop the ball and say, y'all just make it the best way you can. I got my own life to deal with. I'm still trying to repair and mend my own life. No, I still feel a sense of commitment because I helped to bring them into this world. I still feel a sense of responsibility to help them get to their next level. And I'll give you an example. One of my goals is for later this year to to actually start developing on some land that I was able to manifest. And that was pretty amazing in itself, for the sake of not only one of my sons that loves doing organic gardening to have a bigger place, because he's working in a tiny art studio now, and he has a little garden that he built on the side of someone else's property, but for him to have his own, because we all got started out here with nothing, and they did not have a formal education, and they are doing great to still be here. So I want to do what I can to have a place for family to go and live, and live off of nature as much as we can, and do the things, just have a safe place, or a place. I can't say any place is safe on this planet Earth right now. But to have a place that we all can feel comfortable. And that's one of my goals, and that takes resources. It takes resources. And like all of you mentioned, it doesn't have to be exactly in the form of money all the time for every single step of the way. It might be from, other means of manifesting what is needed to go on the land. But I do know financial resources is needed for that. So that's like one of the examples. I'm not a person that goes out, oh, I got my paycheck, I'm going to go and get my nails done, go and get a hair weave, I'm paying all this money on some high heel shoes and a designer purse. No, that is not me. I'm pretty simple. I love fashion. I went to the High School of Art and Design and majored in fashion illustration. I am a fashionable woman, but you'll find me in the thrift store. You'll find me making my own stuff. You find me improvising, just doing my own thing. I don't follow the trends to look the way I want to look. So it's and I have a strict diet as well, and I don't go spending a lot of money at restaurants. You know what I'm saying? So the income that I am manifesting is for me for something that's really meaningful and will be of assistance to, family and other people that need a place of refuge as well. And Greg, yeah. So there was something you said about even with no money, still donate. Absolutely. And I find myself doing that sometime, and sometime I'll say, Shakina, why did you just do that? But it's like, I know that everything is a cycle, right? So we're in this world of cyclic energy. So sometimes I do go out on faith and just trust that, okay, it'll come back to me. But this person here, they really need some help right now. And if I've got just $10, I can give them $5. I can do that because it's going to come back. It'll be back. So learning from the mistakes, that was a big thing. Yeah, I definitely try to learn from my mistakes, and I am challenged when it comes to being mindful of those self-attack thoughts that come in. I'm really working on that lately, related to the affirmations and being mindful when those start showing up on my mental screen. Just backspace, delete, just observe it and get rid of it, and replace it with something more positive. So yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. And thank you for the reminder that whatever choice I make, it's all good, you know. It's a choice. And as long as I learn from it, then.
Well, even if you don't learn from it, right? Like it's a choice. And
Mhm.
and sometimes we make a choice and it could be, you know, whatever, days, years, and go, oh, I could have made a different choice. Or, oh, I see now why I made that choice.
Uh-huh.
I have told people many times that in order to learn how to trust your intuition, I think you have to have enough experiences where you felt like you were intuitively guided and you said no. And it didn't turn out that way. Like it didn't turn out well. And so if once you've had enough of those experiences where you feel like spirit is saying turn right and you go, no, I'm going left, and then you hit a traffic jam or you hit a red
Yeah.
light, you know, then you go, you know what, maybe I should just try listening.
Yes. Yes.
You know, maybe it might be a little bit different of an answer. So
Mhm.
it's what we notice in our experience. It's as you said, noticing the screen of your mind. It's noticing how fast do we catch that? Do we laugh at that or do we make ourselves wrong? Oh my gosh, I still have that thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like for me, I'd had just two situations in the past, you know, I don't know, 36 hours. So I was at a piece of property where there's a place where RVs could come stay, and it's a
Uh-huh.
dead end street, and all of a sudden I saw two RVs go up the street, and I thought, I think they're lost, right?
Mhm.
So I walk up and I stopped and I said, are you looking for a space? And they go, yeah, we thought there was a place and we haven't found it. And I said, well, I have space. You're welcome to stay here, right? And they go, well, do you have a washer dryer? And I'm like, no, that went. I haven't replaced it. And they're like, no, I really need a washer dryer. And I gave them directions, to they're only an hour and a half away from where they really wanted to go. And
Mhm.
and so my thought process was, oh, I could have made some money there. Okay. And
Mhm.
and that was the thought process. And then I was like, oh, but I didn't have the washer dryer. So I'm really not set up. I heard this all go through. I'm really not set up to receive them. And I was like,
Mhm.
is that true? Like I probably would have just said, just, stay here, right? Like maybe
Mhm.
they would have given me money, maybe not. But I mean, I would have just said, here, there's a space. Um, Typically that's what I end up doing. And then I had someone come in. I got a text that says, oh, we'd like to maybe book your cabin for the weekend. Um,
Mhm.
but can you tell us about the compostable toilet? What's that like?
Mhm.
And again, they're okay, no. And I was like, oh, so close to some other money,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like,
Mhm.
but yet so far. And I think this is for me part of the conversation is I was over accentuating this stuff because that's typically what was in the gap is when Abdul says you get focused on money as you need the money, then it's like watching, do I need the money? I don't need the money. No. Could the money and acquiring, like Abdul said, he puts it in the box and there's more coming.
Mhm.
It's like something's coming. You have land to acquire. So it's not the money you need. It's you want the land and what it's going to do for your son and his family and the gardening and how many people it's filled. So that's really what you desire.
Well, I have the land, but I want to develop on the land.
Right. So you
Yeah.
want to
Mhm.
develop it, right? So I
Mhm.
feel like when we shift our little aspect of what it is we want them they want to do,
Mhm.
right? What is we're contributing, whether it's the money or other resources, or someone comes in and says, oh, I'll contribute to your resources, I'll give you this free, I'll, whichever.
Mhm.
Then we let the universe show us how it's going to happen. And
Right.
in the process, though, I get to look at my own thoughts. I get to look at what thoughts I'm allowing and am I just allowing, am I laughing at them, or am I going, oh, that was just such an evil thought I had, right? You know, um, and that's really the gift that we can be. It's everything's
Mhm.
perfect the way it is. We were talking about that last week. Everything's okay the way it is because that's the way it is.
Yes.
And life is really that simple, and then we can make a new choice.
Mhm. Yes.
And
Mhm.
can I just interject? Um,
No, yeah, yes,
Had enough.
yes. Um, you know, my invitation to you, I want to, just say that to join us was not as from a perspective of you not being something or you needing, because we're here very organically, and in my mind, this is a mastermind, a meeting of masters that don't mind coming together on Thursdays at 3 o'clock. You know, and
there's
so
poetry there. Okay.
you know, my invitation to anyone would be out of respect for who they are and who they are becoming, and so it's the perspective because if you lean on, like I said, money and finance will disappoint you every time. And so if you think that's what you need, then your focus on getting that may not allow you to get it because you'll miss the person, the soul who may represent that monetary need, or that gift every time. And so, you know, the universe is the perfect accountant. It knows everything, every gift that takes place, and it accounts for it, for every soul. And it does what is necessary so that you will have, you know, what is necessary for whatever experience awaits, in the future. So trusting in that as the reality. So you envision in your mind, you know, what you want it to be, and then, like Jacqueline said, the universe will show you the how it's going to show up. But you have to be looking, you have to be aware, you have to be awake, so you can see it come and into your world. But if you think that you lack the money to do it, no, you don't lack. It's not. It's never going to be about the money because money is not that old. It's a new thing that entered into our experience here on earth. There was a time where money was not a thing. So we can't give it this value and this power that we give it, to take us into the future. No, we have to realize that we were powerful manifestors that allow us to be synchronized with every experience that we need to have on a daily basis. We go out to the woods to try to make a catch or whatever, we run into another soul that says, "Hey, yo, I got carrots," You know what I'm saying? He said, "Carrots, what?" You know what I'm saying? And so, we have to allow ourselves to be open, because I mean, it's very difficult to see how this world is 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 change is changing right before our eyes. It's fighting against the reality. As a businessman, some 30 years ago, successful, the way to do business was much simpler. The things you could do to do a juggle to keep yourself in the game was more available. They're not there now. And so, what I had to learn when I lost my physical capacity to function was to depend on the things that were invisible, the energetic things that was going to be my reality, and trusting in that energy field. to bring to me everything I needed to allow me to make the next move. And so, I just invite, all of us, that, thinking about additions, adding on to your experience in another way, that, yeah, it's not, you got to look at it a different way. You have to, because again, if you, the dollar, it doesn't, just look at it. They're about to make the whole currency thing disappear. If you blink, they're gonna handicap a lot of people if they take this dollar bill and coins out of the circulation. And so what's gonna happen? So that has to be a reality. You're gonna have to, like we did almost less than 2 years ago, on your energy and uh, uh, to attract the things to you so you can survive. We are that are still in this game survivors. And you got to keep asking yourself every day you wake up, ask yourself, why? Why me? And what was it that allowed you to stay on this planet that's spinning, that's throwing people off? Why are you still on it? There's a value. And so once you recognize that value, then you'll be able to manifest. And that word in itself, manifest, is a man that's having a party. He's in a festive mood. And so you have to be festive. You have to be happy to be attractive. And so we talked about smiling, yeah, these things are, this is money. That's the money. Because, when I go out, wherever I show up, be it the supermarket, but the first thing people get happy. I don't know, when I show up for some reason, even the security guard. Oh wow, he gets really excited, and I see the value in that. I came down the hill to make him happy that day.
I
Right?
had a whole DJ list of songs that kept popping up in the last 2 minutes that you were talking. It was like, I'm still standing after all this time when you're talking about gravity, like we're all and but that's joyful. So I really appreciate all of you being here. And this was a real pleasure, Chiquinas, that we could all share our different perspectives pertaining to one situation, because I think that's relative for everybody that's listening. Is there's
Yes.
always going to be different perspectives. So when you go ask somebody else for your answer, when your answer will come from in here, you're kind of, you can do that. We do that, but it's really like practice having the answer come from in here. We get gems, but it's really in here. We started this call just as we got silent with Abdul, and I'm going to suggest that we end this call for just a minute, just to let go of anything anybody ever came up with. Just let it go, shake it off. Like, is that the Taylor Swift? Shake it off. And then let's just open up and imagine whatever it is you want to imagine in terms of abundance and flow and how lucky we fortunate are. And we'll just silently leave the screen.